What to do, folks? Welcome back to a new video I've never done on the channel. Now, this is gonna be a top 5 Pokemon fan games video, specifically fan games, okay, and not ROM hacks. But I would also be talking about how it affected me as a creator and the sort of channel as a whole. Let's get right into it, bro. I feel like my top 5 list is going to be a bit unique since most people are probably not gonna know what number 5 is, which is Pokemon Zeta and Omicron. It was either between Insurgents or this game, and I'm explaining exactly why. You might be like, what the f is who-ass game, Kelvy? Zeta and Omicron is made by the same devs who created Pokemon Insurgents. Now, one of the main reasons I'm putting this game above Insurgents is because the overall general experience I had, but it actually had 3D models and a bunch of sprite resource packs that made it really enjoyable. Now, if you actually check out this game, I highly recommend to play the remastered version by K-Serious. I'm pretty sure that's their name, but it's one of the few fan games I have ever seen that genuinely uses 3D sprites. Like, actually taking the time to get all that into a resource pack is huge, and it really did feel like I was playing like a 3DS game. It was just so different from all the other games. It has 2 massive regions with a vast majority of Pokemon you can use. I'm talking about stuff like starred Pokemon in the wild. I haven't actually finished the second region, but I have finished the main one, which is really long, and I'm pretty sure the second one is even longer as well. So it's honestly a game with a bunch of content you can spend so much time in. It does have a unique selection of starred Pokemons, but I really don't mind. But I feel like it keeps it fresh. But Mega Evolution is also featured in this game, but I will say though, not a lot or any of it is kind of in the main game, but I'm guessing is more in the second one. Deltamons do actually exist in this game, and if you're not familiar with that, it's basically sort of regional Pokemons like the ones in Insurgents. But I will say though, they're way more polished in Insurgents than in Zeta Omicron. I'm pretty sure it's just like a color swap. The music and stuff is mainly from like RPG Maker, and I think maybe some custom ones or remixes here and there, but it's still pretty good. Though the story is a bit lackluster, if I'm going to be honest, compared to a lot of the other fan games on this list, but it gives a good general plot of the game. I know that it's fairly outdated compared to other fan games, but I still have it in my top 5, probably due to reasons like just enjoying it so much when I was younger and sort of getting back into it like a couple of months ago. And also just nostalgia too. Like, I remember watching Munching Orange play this game. Shout out him, obviously. Shout out Blast playing, you know. I didn't post this on the channel, so I can't really speak on how it affected my channel and me as a creator, but I will say though that number 4 definitely did, which brings me on to Pokemon Xenoverse. This is the fan game that has like probably the best fan game music I've heard, bro. I'm pretty sure everything is from scratch. The gym leader theme, I'll be bumping that shit so hard, bro. But of course, it's not only carried by music, but a bunch of lovely new Fakemon and very cool new Mega Evolutions and regional forms at that. They are called X variants. One of the things that stuck out to me the most are the nice close-up cutscenes. It really added a nice sort of cinematic feeling to the actual game while you're playing it before like a big boss or maybe a opponent battle, and as well as the avatar pop-ups as well. It adds way more personality to the characters or just the NPCs around you. And of course, one of my favorite things that I like to see in any fan game are moving sprites. Now, the animations may not be the craziest thing out there, but just having some sort of movement really sets it apart from a lot of games in my opinion. I have no problem with the story. It's nothing too complex, which not every game needs. I really did enjoy it, but it's nothing too crazy. Pretty simple to understand. I know I've yet to play the post game of this, which I know a lot of people say might even be crazier than the actual main game itself, so the ratings may need to change on this shit, you know what I'm saying? But we will see. Now, how it actually affected my channel and me as a creator is a bit unique. Like, it was one of the first proper seasons of my Nomad Lock series. Now, if you don't know what that is, it's like I connect games into each other, sort of like where I'm still the same character. It just adds a ton of lore and, you know, a bunch of cool stuff. I'll leave a link to it in the description below, and it's having an absolute blast just editing the game and learning a bunch of new stuff. But moving on to number 3, Pokemon Unbreakable Ties, bro. Now, the first time I saw this game, like genuinely, the main thing that got me to play this game was the stunning graphics, bro. When I saw that this game resembled like Black and White 2 and had like pop-up avatars as well when characters spoke, the aesthetic of the game, that was like, wow, this shit look clean as a bitch. With the new update being worked on, a lot of characters got some redos and shit, you know, like girl beat you like ah! This game has pretty good music. I actually recognized a couple of themes from different games like Dokkan Battle, I'm pretty sure, and some general Pokemon remixes, and a whole bunch of other stuff that I've yet to even know where it's from. But it's good. It's really good. I'm a very big fan of this game's story. I mean, it was super thrilling just playing this on my live streams, and I was always getting hyped when something big was happening, and honestly, a lot of sad character deaths too. Like, it really hit hard, you know what I'm saying? Such good plot twist. I mean, I'm not trying to spoil anything. I'm just giving you the general idea, but you literally have to check it out for yourself. A really big plus with this game is that it has a vast majority of Pokemon to use as well as an encounter list to see what you can get in each route as well, which really helps because I hate looking like up the wiki of a game or trying to look through some like Pokedex of it. It's all like outdated as shit, or maybe you don't even find it. Like, it really is annoying. But also includes Mega Evolution as well. Now, there also are some custom Megas in this. Now, I'm not sure if you can use them yet. I don't think so, but it might be more available in the next update, you know what I'm saying? But that Mega Evolution is always a plus. Always a plus. Obviously, the game isn't finished yet, so the rating can change, but I should say a lot, bro. A game that's not even finished, that's in my top 3. Like, hey, maybe it's gonna be number 2 and maybe even number 1. We will see, bro. Time will tell. But I will say though, even though if I was playing on the hard mode, which is one of the more difficult modes, I wasn't really struggling with a lot of battles. I feel like there was some that kind of was making me struggle, but other than that, it's a chill game. There's a bunch of difficulty options for you to choose between anyway. Moving on, how it actually affected like the channel and me as a creator, like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty sure this was the first series where I started doing like these anime-esque intros. It really pushed my creative limits even further. It pushed me forward, you know, not only as a creator but the channel too. And not only, bro, like, shout out Samurai, bro, the dev of this game. Like, I remember I went to live stream in this game and it literally just like rated my stream a hype experience unrivaled. I'm not gonna lie, it is one of the best like streams of the game I've had ever. But moving on to number 2. Now look, I was unsure if I was putting Unbreakable Ties at number 2 or this game, Pokemon Reborn, bro. This is a long and veiny ass game, bro. I got a lot to say about this shit. First off the bat, this has to be the hardest Pokemon game I've ever played. Radical Red, boo, bro. Elite Redux, boo, bro. I would strongly suggest this for actual Pokemon veterans and not someone that's getting into Pokemon, because it can be very confusing and a bit fucking hard, bro. But the music in this game is great. I'm talking about, we got a lot of Glitch X City themes. I mean, she's been making wonderful music for a lot of years now. So, you know, hearing themes that I heard before in this game was like a nostalgia hit. I was like, hey, I know this theme and it goes hard, you know what I'm saying? But they do actually have some custom themes too, like the Inner Peace one, I think it's called, you know, that dun 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 dun. Stop, bro, stop. I'm not having musical. Once again, a lot of Pokemon can be used at your disposal, which is honestly needed for a game like this. It really forces you, well, at least puts you more in a situation where you really want to make a diverse team and have different Pokemon at your disposal, which you can switch around with to be certain fights or gym leaders or whatever it may be. Mechanics like Mega Evolution and Z-moves are actually in this game, but there's also this new field system. Now, I know Reborn isn't the only one that has this. I'm pretty sure that Rejuvenation does, Desolation does, and I know one more game, I think it's called Reputation. I think they have that too. It's a pretty cool system, or I like to call it domain expansions, basically. Depending on what field you're in, some moves might get buffed, some moves might get nerfed. Your Pokemon might even react in a different way too. Like, hey, shout out my boy Silvally, Studeka, hey. What's the issue, bro? Reborn literally made me like a lot of Pokemons that I thought was ass or just like wasn't on my radar, if that makes sense. It's a very long game with a complex story. Obviously, a lot of thought put into it. Now, I know it might be dark for some, but personally, I didn't really have any issues. I feel it's nice to have games that are very different in nature to what the general Pokemon stories are, which I really like from this game. Of course, deaths happen and sometimes some heavy themes that get talked about and whatnot, but I never really had any personal issues with it. But overall, it was still good, and there's a lot of characters in this story, but to be honest, not everybody stuck out to me, bro. Like, at the end of the game, main game at least, like, I only care about maybe 3 characters max, bro, and I can count them all on top of my fingers, bro. But since this game is a very hard game from the usual Pokemon game, like, I know some competitive people might be frying me in the comments. I'm not gonna name that though, but like, I'm just saying, like, it's a game that has above average difficulty, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna have to use like more than 3 brain cells, but when you beat these tough ass battles, like the normal type gym leader, like, you feel so accomplished. No, actually, side ran that normal type gym leader Noel, bro. When I beat that battle, it wasn't even so, oh yes, accomplishment. It was, I'm fucking finally done with this fucking battle, bro. Trust me, that shit was pissing me off, bro. But look, I'm telling you, It's a type of game where you have certain battles that make you feel so accomplished and like you've actually elevated to a new level of sweatiness. Yes, sweatiness. I have not played the post game though. I'm gonna keep it a buck. From what I've heard, it's mostly fighting legendaries with competitive sets team. Like, that's what I know. Obviously, there's some like other like story stuff that goes on as well. I'm not trying to spoil. Well, to be honest, I don't know a lot about the post game itself, but I know them legendary fights are one of the main things that goes on that you do in the post game. So if you love puzzles, like, yo, if you love puzzles, this game might honestly be for you as well. I'm talking about lots of puzzles, bro. I mean, obviously, as the game progresses, they get more difficult and difficult, but me having a personal bias against puzzles, it was honestly painful to do some of this shit, bro. I'm talking about like later in the game, it really made me like always search up Hero Voltsy on some real shit. I was always looking at like, okay, how do I do this gym puzzle? Like, how do I get this side quest? Like, you know what I'm saying? It was fucked. It was generally fucked. I'm not the greatest at puzzles, but it got to a point where it was really like ruining my experience as a whole. When I went to it fully blind, I didn't know what to expect, and it really hammered me down a lot early game because I didn't really understand team synergy. Obviously, more so of a me problem, you know what I'm saying? Made the game way harder than it should have been. And honestly, I even found myself a bit lost sometimes, especially with some quests, like side quests. Like, I always need to look up some area that I didn't really know the place of. But once again, going into this game as a first sort of reborn evolved game, it was interesting. It was very hard. Everything was new, so I'm gonna cut the game some slack and obviously see this as more of a me problem, if that makes sense. Maybe I should have been more prepared, you know. Maybe I should have had the guide of side quests up. Maybe you should as well when you check out this game. But I feel like the later game of Reborn really pushed it up to that number 2 slot because mainly used mods I never used before. It has a bunch of nice custom shinies that make genuinely Pokemon like Silvally look like a whole different beast. Like, Silvally must be like a top 5 mon after this game solely because of Reborn, and I'll always respect that game for making me like stuff I never thought I would have liked and making me use stuff I never thought I would have used. Like, it has a lot of pros but also a couple of cons, you know. And how it affected me as a creator and the channel, I mean, this was the start of my Nomad Lock series. Once again, sort of my like custom series I have on the channel where I link game to game, and it was really revolutionizing the way I play Pokemon. I mean, I had never played a game where I switched between squads, play on like a selected rule set. Obviously Nuzlocke and stuff exists, but wasn't a Nuzlocke per se. But it really made me think and force myself to evolve as a Pokemon player and just enjoying my experience overall. Touch this again with using Pokemon I've never used before. I almost forgot to mention the most important thing about this game. It has multiple routes, so make sure that you carefully choose every single option in this game because it will matter. Honorable mentions before we move on to number 1. Pokemon Uranium, bro. Great music, love the fake mons and the nuclear mons too. Pokemon Insurgents, bro. One of the first really popular fan games like Uranium, but I really love the Mega Evolutions and Deltamons and its overall story and gameplay. Now, honestly, it was between Zeta and Armorcon, I'm telling you, but I had to pick Zeta Armorcon because how much I enjoyed it. Pokemon Fusion White 2. I am a sucker for Black and White 2 games, and I always love these fusion games, so I definitely recommend checking that out. Pokemon Infinite Fusion is literally the father of these fusion games, and honestly, a really fun game to play, and it gets constantly updated. Pokemon Hidden Place. I actually recently played this, but I enjoyed a lot of the new Fakemon, and it had a nice simple plot with good graphics of the game, but maybe some mistranslations here and there. Pokemon Distillation. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I will speak more on this game, but I'm literally playing through the game as I'm making this video. Like, there's not much to say right now, but what there is much to say about is the number 1 slot, bro. Now, you either know this game or you don't. This is one of the most underrated games in my opinion because I don't see anybody even talking about it anymore. Pokemon Imperium, bro. My favorite family game of all time. Now, like Reborn, I must say this has a nice, long, veiny-ass story, complex plot, characters I really enjoy, crazy amount of plot twists, and a story that gets even deeper than you ever thought it would have. It has a lot of challenging battles and even new types of enemy bosses, and as well as a new mechanic that's called the Fusion Mechanic. Now, there are selected mons that are able to use this mechanic, and I know you can unlock more in the post-game, but the 3 main ones you get is Superior, Typhlosion, and Empoleon. You will be able to get them while you progress through the game, but not only did it sell me with that mechanic as it's pretty freaking strong, like it's stronger than Mega Evolutions, it of course has Fakemon and brand new Mega Evolutions as well. They did a lot of these stars justice, bro. It has incredible themes, I mean, I use some of these themes in my video till this day, and I beat the main game like almost 2-3 years ago now. Like, it's been a while. That speaks volumes in my opinion, but it's really been putting me on a lot of themes. I will say though that I am not a fan at all of this card system and sort of star system. Now basically this is the mode where you're able to get specific cards for your Pokemon to boost their stats, and the star system I'm referring to basically has to do with breeding, if I'm correct. You can basically breed a Pokemon up to a 5-star, which boosts their stats a certain amount. Now I'm not sure what amount it is. I think 5 stars boosted by 1.6. I could be wrong though. It was just unnecessary and long grind in my opinion. I don't like grinding in a game too much, bro. I've never been a fan of that. Of course, you can go ahead and do that by all means, but there's also a mode without that where you can just play normally on hard mode, normal mode, whatever it may be. But I will also say that this game has nice custom shinies, and then the shinies in this game are actually stronger. Now, there are even some levels above the normal shiny, which is like platinum shiny, I think it's called. The stats are way greater than a shiny and the normal form of the Pokemon. So you can imagine how sweaty it can get with a platinum freaking like 5-star mon or something like that. But as far as I know, shiny rates are increased and is way easier and recommended to do while breeding in the game. And how it affected me as a creator and the channel. Now, I feel like this was one of the first series that gave me like a couple thousand views on like a singular video. It was the series that elevated my quality of my videos, sort of get myself in tune to what would eventually become my editing style. A bit the same with Reborn. I just remember having such a blast playing that game since I've always wanted to do it, and becoming a YouTuber and being able to do that, it was amazing. And I quickly touched a bit on the post game as well. Now, I'll only speak for the Desert Arc, which is probably one of the most enjoyable post games I have played. Magnifique, cinema. The rest though, I ain't gonna lie, bro. I have heard fuck all about that. I heard that it might honestly bring the game down. But hey, I'm gonna keep the main game and Desert Arc right here, and we're gonna keep the other post game stuff here, bro. I ain't touching that shit, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Hey, I don't know too much about it, but for what people have told me, it ain't all that, bro. You low-key gonna suffer doing that shit. But I will still recommend Pokemon Imperium. I'll still recommend the main game and the Desert Arc after it, and I will still call it my #1 fan game of today. If you want to let me know what your top 5 is, let me know in the comment section below. Maybe I put you on some games you haven't heard before. Maybe you were surprised. Like, I want to know what y'all think. You know what I'm saying? Let's just make a normal discussion in the comment section. I'll of course link my playthroughs to these games as well. Other than that, thanks for watching, and make sure to stay hydrated.